Over the past few years, I've done multiple videos on my dad's rain gutter garden system, and that's just a play on hydroponics. It's just that he just used a regular gutter that you could buy at any big box store and converted it into a semi-hydroponic gardening growing system. So I just happened to take it over because he moved. So that means we hooked it up in here. Come with me as I will not only finish hooking it up, but we're going to be setting up some plants, but also some troubleshooting. I've encountered a few problems when it comes to this. Leaking, hose problems. So let's just try to figure this out. What's going on, my plant peoples? I am the ADHD gardener, where I use gardening, houseplants, and humor as a much needed form of mental health therapy, sobriety, ADHD tips, tricks, and hacks on how to navigate this crazy ass world using our garden. And welcome to my rain gutter garden system that I took from my dad. Now, he was moving, he did not have the space for it, so I said, yo, don't throw that away. I want that because I want a huge salad bowl for the remaining of the summer and fall time. Only thing is that there was a little bit of issues when it comes to hooking it all back up, because this is an old system. This was a great system. Now this is a semi-hydroponic system, which means that not only are we using water, but we're using regular soil as well in the buckets. Now, if you do not want to do semi-hydroponics, you don't need to use a bucket with soil. You can go strictly hydroponic with this, but we're going to have to be changing around a few of these things. I'm just using landscape fabric for this because that's all that's required for the semi-hydroponics. However, if you decide to do strictly hydroponics with just the gutter system by itself, you're going to need something a lot more stable, a lot more firm for your plants, to hold them up, like a wooden plank or something like that, because it's going to need a neck cup and all that jazz. But that's strictly hydroponics. Jose found these cool pieces of wood and then put them all together and built this structure for me. I said, yes, that means that I was able to take Dad's rain gutters and then put them there, and then I made my own salad tower. Oh boy, that can't be good. Look at all these little ants, termite bites thingies. See, what had happened is that Dad had a great water irrigation system plugged up to the rain gutter, but not into my house. So that's what we're trying to figure out right now, how to attach the timer irrigation system that I have to these rain gutters. This type of tubing right here that we're using is not the appropriate tubing for irrigation. This is for something else. So this is going to be a little on the harder side, but still, it is not impossible.
Landscape irrigation?
This is for landscape irrigation. This is way tougher material than it is for your normal standard hydroponic irrigation or your water irrigation.
That would just snap right in here.
If you saw Dad's previous rain gutter videos on his troubleshooting, he was always using a sort of lighter or a torch to soften up the plastic so those, the tubings can all fit together. And that's exactly what Jose is doing. He's taking a lighter, softening up that plastic so he can push that coupler right through and attach the rain gutter to the tubing. We are so ready for testing. Yes, now we get to test the water. Oh. So Jose's gonna put this timer on, let the water flow right through here. I have a pressure reducer, like my dad said, 15 PSI, because apparently if I did not put that there, those would have blown. Oh, it's filling up. Okay, everything's filling up and we have a leak somewhere.
Here.
Okay.
It's only to fill it up, so the little drip is nothing.
Because this is not going to be on at all times. This is just, just for whenever it needs to get refilled.
That's it, a little drip, and plus, look, it's falling into the other one anyway.
I mean, I wonder how often Dad had to fill this up, or use it, or leave it on. I mean, what if... all right.
2-3 weeks, I think.
Oh, man, I'm very excited.
I put it for an hour.
You what?
I put it for an hour.
All right, let's see how much it it fills up in an hour. See, we know about this leak, but this is only going to happen when we're refilling the gutters. In the corner, but this one is leaking. Man, I hate the hard way, learning the hard way. Ow, look at all that water. Oh, I'm gonna have to redo this whole entire one. I had to do it all over again because this one was leaking really bad. And what way can I, how can I get rid of the water? By ripping it all apart. I'm gonna take off all of the old silicone and then just do it all over again. All right, I'm trying them again. They are all filling up with water. All right, we're trying it again and it's filling up with water. Okay, so far so good. The landscape fabric that he had needed to go because it's old, so I wanted to replace it with some new stuff. The key is whatever you use, whatever type of fabric you use, the water has to be covered, has to be sealed away from bugs and everything that can fall into it. If those mosquitoes get in, that's how they're gonna lay their eggs, and then you'll have a bunch of mosquitoes. What if you want to get all crazy with it? Also, you can use, like, I would not suggest cardboard, but I guess that would work if you're in a pinch. If you only have cardboard to cover up the water, then that's what you use. If you only have plastic, wood, whatever, just so the water is not exposed. But I'm just happen to use that landscape fabric that I wound up taking from my dad. Leave both ends of the rain gutters open and available. Do not staple them closed. That's how we're gonna be able to tell and check the water levels. Make sure to be able to check the floaters at each ends. Check for leaks, so do not staple all the way to the end. I did that, and that was a big no-no because I had to rip up the staple and the fabric all over again so I can check the water. Don't do that. When you're done stapling the landscape fabric to the gutter, then what you're going to do is you're going to take a blade, a sharp blade, and then cut a cross or an X as to where those buckets are going to be sitting. Because you don't want to cut out a whole circle, because let's just say maybe your neck cups are not all going to be the same size. And, don't do that. Just do a little simple cut that will let the neck cup fit right onto the rain gutter. The neck cup has to be touching the water. So this is where the floaters are going to come in. If you do not have enough water inside of that gutter, it ain't going to be touching, which means that water ain't going to be getting sucked up into the buckets. These buckets do not have any roots or plants inside of them. That means that none of the water is going to get sucked up really good inside these buckets. So when you're first starting out, you're going to need to water them a lot and get it heavy and get those plants established inside of the bucket, because you're going to have to wait. Until then, once those plants start getting larger inside of the bucket, then they will be drawing up that water from the bottom. But for now, we're going to need a little assistance in watering them just to get it started. When I first got these buckets were not the best looking. They needed a lot of help because remember, they were being used multiple years beforehand. So we needed to hook up a lot of this soil. I did not have enough soil to fill up all of them new, but that's okay. We're going to be amending the soil. We're going to be adding a bunch of stuff to it. And this is the stuff that I'm adding. I'm going to be adding perlite, also some worm castings, and mycorrhizal fungi. I've done a video on that mycorrhizal fungi last week. It is super beneficial for your roots, your root health, your plant development and everything like that. So we're going to be adding and hooking that all up inside these buckets. When you're filling your rain gutter systems up with water, you need it a certain height. The water has to be touching the bottom underneath that neck cup, because how else is it going to soak up all the water? It needs to be touching. Problem is that if you put too much water in those gutter systems, the water is going to be rising up through that fabric, and that's a breeding ground for bugs. So just keep that in mind. Every time you see that, you may want to just kind of lower your watering a little bit, just so these mosquitoes are like suckers of that take advantage. So you don't want to give them any opportunity to be just laying and breeding their eggs. These seedlings that I'm putting in are incredibly small, so those root system is not going to obviously suck up any water just yet. Eventually, over time, they will. But for now, I think that once they're at seedling stage, you're gonna have to water. I should have asked my dad that question. I'm sure he probably would have mentioned that, but then again, this is why we're going to be paying attention. We're going to be checking up on this all the time to make sure that the soil has not dried out. If the soil has dried out and the plants are not that large, maybe it's because the gutter needs more water. But if the gutter needs water and the plants are still small and the soil is still dry, you may just need to add some water. Now we just wait and let it grow. I've already added water to these buckets so they have a good head start. The soil is already amended, so now we just keep track of the water levels inside of the gutters and watch them grow. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you got some really good information out of it. Let me know down in the comments below. Have you tried and dabbled in semi-hydroponics? Have you done regular hydroponics before? And if you have, I am definitely curious to know, how'd it go? Did it work out great for you? If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to smash that like button. I really appreciate it. Also, you can catch me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm on there all the time. And as usual, until the next episode, you guys, where you and me both are going to be growing our happiness one plant at a time, one day at a time. I'll catch y'all later in the next episode. Peace and love.